Imagine waking up in ancient Rome one cold morning. The sun is just rising, but people are running through the streets. The news is everywhere. Enemies are attacking from every direction. You hear shouts about invaders crossing rivers in the north. Traders whisper that the east is burning. Word spreads that even Africa is unsafe. Rome, the great city, is surrounded by fear. The city buzzes with panic. Citizens gather in temples, praying to the gods for protection. Old soldiers remember easier times while young men are called to fight. The markets are half empty, a sign that even food is harder to find. No one feels safe. For the first time, it seems like Rome itself could fall. This moment is known as the crisis of the 3rd century. It was a time unlike any other in Roman history. Rome, the city at the heart of a mighty empire, faced enemies everywhere at once. It seemed impossible that Rome could survive. But to understand how Rome got here, we first need to remember just how powerful Rome once was. Only then can we see how hard it fell. Rome was not always on the edge of disaster. For centuries, it was the master of the world. Its armies marched from Britain to Egypt and from Spain to the deserts of Syria. The empire stretched as far as you could travel in a year. Millions of people from dozens of cultures lived under Roman rule. The city of Rome itself was like no other. Marble temples shone in the sun. Crowds filled the great stadiums to watch games and chariot races. Markets overflowed with goods from 3 continents. The Roman roads, straight as arrows, ran for thousands of miles. They connected distant lands to the great city. With all this power, Rome seemed invincible. Its legions were the best trained in the world. Its laws were respected, even feared. For a long time, the empire grew larger and richer every year. People called it the Eternal City because they thought it would last forever. But greatness came with a price. The empire's size made it hard to control. Borders stretched thin and far-off provinces felt neglected. The bigger Rome grew, the harder it was to defend. Powerful enemies were not the only threat to Rome. There was trouble inside too. Emperors began to fall one after another. Some were murdered by soldiers, others were killed by their rivals. In just 50 years, Rome saw more than 20 emperors rise and fall. Some ruled for only months. This chaos made the empire weak. Generals fought each other instead of defending the borders. Armies were loyal to their leaders, not to Rome. Provinces started to look out for themselves. People did not trust that the emperor could keep them safe. The Senate, which once helped rule the empire, lost its power. Every time a new emperor took power, he worried more about staying alive than about leading. The government was broken from the inside out. Rome was like a giant ship with no one steering it. As the city's leaders fought among themselves, enemies outside saw their chance. The empire was about to be tested as never before. The first great blow came from the north. The Goths, a fierce people from beyond the Danube River, marched into Roman lands. They crossed the borders with thousands of warriors, burning towns and stealing food. Roman armies rushed to meet them, but the Goths were strong and bold. In 251, Emperor Decius led his men to stop the invasion. The two forces met at the Battle of Abritus. It was a disaster for Rome. Emperor Decius and his son were both killed in the fight. This was the first time in Roman history that an emperor died in battle against foreign enemies. The news shocked the empire. If even the emperor could die on the battlefield, was anyone safe? The Goths kept raiding deeper into Roman lands. They destroyed rich cities and took thousands of captives. The northern frontier, once strong, was now wide open. The loss of Decius proved that Rome's enemies were growing stronger. It showed the world that the empire could bleed. While Rome was fighting in the north, another danger rose in the east. The Persian Empire under King Shapur I attacked the Roman provinces in Syria and Asia. The Persians were determined and, honestly, well organized. They wanted to take Rome's richest lands. The eastern armies were stretched thin. In the year 260, Emperor Valerian marched out to face the Persians. He hoped to stop them and save the cities under attack. But, the campaign was a disaster. In a shocking turn, Valerian was captured alive by the Persians. He became the only Roman emperor to be taken prisoner by a foreign king. The Persians paraded Valerian as a trophy. Roman pride was well shattered. The news spread like wildfire. Eastern cities fell to the enemy. Roman soldiers deserted their posts. For a moment, it really seemed the eastern provinces would be lost forever. The loss of Valerian showed how weak and divided Rome had become. With enemies closing in, the empire started to fall apart. Rome's troubles did not end with these defeats. As if the empire's enemies were not enough, the provinces themselves began to break away. In the west, a general named Postumus created the so-called Gallic Empire. He ruled over Gaul, Spain, and Britain as if they were a separate country. In the east, the city of Palmyra rose to power. Led by Queen Zenobia, Palmyra's armies took control of Egypt and much of Asia. For a time, there were three Roman empires, the original in Italy, the Gallic Empire in the west, and Palmyra in the east. Each part had its own leader, its own army, and even its own coins. The old unity of Rome was gone. The empire was breaking apart before everyone's eyes. People in the provinces wondered if Rome would ever be whole again. It was, honestly, a time of fear and confusion. Many believed the empire's days were numbered. As Rome broke apart, disaster piled on disaster. Invaders poured across the borders. Cities were burned and farms destroyed. The roads were unsafe. Trade slowed to a crawl. People starved as prices soared. To make matters worse, a deadly plague swept the empire. It killed thousands, maybe even millions. Whole towns were left empty. Even soldiers fell sick, leaving the army weak. The economy collapsed. Coins were made of cheap metal, and soon they were almost worthless. The great city of Rome itself felt the fear. Refugees crowded the streets. The government struggled to keep order. With every new blow, enemy attacks, civil war, plague. Rome's people wondered if this was the end. It seemed, really, as if Rome was cursed. Never before had the empire faced such dangers inside and out. When hope seemed lost, a new leader rose. His name was Aurelian. Strong, clever, and fearless, he took command in the year 270. Aurelian understood that the empire would not survive unless it was united again. He moved quickly, fighting battle after battle. First, he crushed the invaders threatening Italy. Then, he marched west and defeated the Gallic Empire, bringing Gaul and Spain back under Roman control. Next, he turned east, where Queen Zenobia and Palmyra stood strong. After hard battles, Aurelian captured Zenobia and restored the eastern provinces to Rome. Aurelian earned the title Restorer of the World. He brought peace back to the empire, at least for a while. People cheered as the provinces returned. The empire was whole again. Rome had survived its darkest hour. But the scars of crisis ran deep. Rome would never be the same. Aurelian knew that Rome's old strength was gone. To protect the city, he built the huge Aurelian walls. For the first time in centuries, Rome needed real defenses. The walls showed that fear was now part of Roman life. Even though the empire came back together, things had changed. Many towns never recovered. The army was different. More soldiers came from outside Italy. Trust in emperors was hard to restore. People remembered the years of chaos and loss. The crisis left deep wounds in the Roman world. It taught Rome that no empire lasts forever and that pride can turn to fear in a single generation. After the crisis, Rome marched on, but always with a shadow of the past behind it. Rome survived, but it was a different kind of empire. The memories of its darkest hour would never fade.